Because it's a final, what we decided to do was to pay a trip, or take a trip to the various schools. Imrantia, and your headmaster is also here. Please put your hands together for your headmaster. He's sitting down calmly, patiently. Yeah. All right, we hear you. So we took a trip to Kumasi Senior High School. And this is what we were able to put together. Fix your eyes on the monitors and enjoy. This is what happened when we went to Kumasi Senior High School. Take a watch.
My name is Benjamin Teriachun. When I was teaching, my students used to call me Pascal. Currently the headmaster of Kumasi High School, a school where the boys are always poised for action. But I'm extremely excited because we are celebrating our 60th anniversary and we need a birthday present. And we hope this is the perfect birthday present for us. So I'm extremely excited that we've reached the finals. And I'm very much hopeful that we are going to carry the day. I wish them well. I know very well that they themselves, they have prepared very well. The trainers too have done extremely well. And for that matter, we are going to do the do. Because OLAG, we've met them before, we defeated them. They are no match. We are going to cut them to size.
I am Esben Ayikadewamako, and I'm the principal speaker for Kumasi High School.
I am Joshua Kwabna Ephraim, a student from Kumasi High School and also the supporting speaker for Kumasi High School.
And well, for today, why we should expect this? We are coming. It's not going to be easy. No, not for Our Lady of Grace. It's not going to be like last time, like what we had. They said they were warming up. Okay, we take it that they were warming up. But that time, we weren't even ready for the battle yet. You see, the real battle is happening today. This is the finals of the contest. And we are coming different, like something they've never seen before.
Since we were able to do this on the other time and it's happening again, it's going to be even massive than it was. So they should be fully prepared to await us, yes.
Our victory will be very important to me. The fact that we've been able to achieve something in our time in this school, that we didn't just come and leave anyhow, but we left a mark behind. And it's something important to lift the school's name.
I'll be very happy because the journey so far hasn't been easy to any of us, but we've been able to move through till this stage.
And for me personally, it's also important because getting to learn a lot of things about myself that I never knew before I started the debate.
My name is Baba Hudu Ibrahim. I am a patron and trainer of Kumasi High School Debaters. And this is a momentous occasion because we've won it in 2022, where we met Prempeh College and we outsmarted them. This time around today, we are meeting Our Lady of Grace. We are not underestimating their prowess because we met them in the qualifiers. We beat them by 2 points. Today, they are saying that they are going to clinch victory ahead of Kumasi High School, but that is not going to be because Kumasi High School, we are ever prepared. And Nantia and everybody who are supporting us, please, we are making you proud this afternoon. At the end of the day, you will hear Kumasi High School and Kala, the Joff set will be flying in the air. The Joff set will be flying in the air. The Joff set will be flying in the air. Not yet! Not yet! Not yet! Not yet!
Imrantia. So this is what we're able to put together for you when we took a trip to your school. That is the Kumasi High Senior High School. Now, I've already introduced the headmaster of the school to you. I can see the patron as well. Baba, please stand. And that's Baba Hudu there, the patron for the Kumasi Senior High School, Kumasi High. All right, so at this point in time, please stand on your feet. High schoolers, stand on your feet. Imrantia. And you're standing at this point in time because you have to sing for us your school anthem. You know the drill already. I always say to you that sing your school anthem with pride, sing it with joy, sing it with all the energy you can master, sing it with smiles on your faces. So Kumasi High, if you're ready, on 3, 1, 2, go.
I rise to live and shout.
is the anthem for Kumasi High Senior High School 2022 champions here in 2024 are in the finals as well. Please, with your hands together, let's welcome your debaters, Esben, Aikade, Wemako, and of course Joshua Efum. Imrantia. Okay. So we also make time to take a trip to Mamponting to Our Lady of Grace Senior High School. Adoma. Now, do we have Reverend Father Sly with us? That's the headmaster of the school. Do we have Reverend Sly here? He's not. Okay, but we have the patron here, don't we? I mean, Emmanuel Enchi, are you here? So that's Emmanuel Enchi. Please stand and show him some love as well. Put your hands together for that wonderful patron. Have it brought you this far? Thank you very much, Emmanuel Enchi. So we took a trip to OLAG as well. And I'm sure you are eager to get to know what we're able to put together for you. So if you don't mind, one more time, feast your eyes on the monitor and enjoy.
Over the years, OLAG has grown from a small school that was for basically local people from Mamponting community to a national school. And we have been taking part in this LuvFM debate competition. We have actually been to the regional competition before, but this is the time that we have probably gone so far to be at the finals. And we are so proud to be in the finals because as a school, we have been working very hard in all aspects, sports, academics, moral training. And we were hoping that one day we will come to the point where we will be known in the whole region as a school that has come to stay and to actually work together with the strong schools in the region to train children of Ghana to prepare them for greater future.
My name is Emmanuel. You can also call me Miles. And I'm a patron for Our Lady of Grace Senior High School Writers and Debaters Club. OLAG is a school that is working with grace. In fact, we joined high school debate, LuvFM High School Debate 3 years ago, but we couldn't qualify for the prelims. And the subsequent year, we were able to qualify, and we were eliminated at the knockout stage by Yasantoa girls. But God being so good this year, we said no, let's come with all that we have. And you all testify that indeed, OLAG has been doing so great.
Hello everyone, I'm Salima Sufyan, the principal speaker for Our Lady of Grace Senior High School.
I am Agnes Drea Elinam Abba, a student of Our Lady of Grace Senior High School and the supporting speaker.
Today is just going to be our very best performance on stage yet. Like, if anybody thinks what we've done so far is so amazing, they should be ready to be blown away because today, I don't want to spoil it, but today is just going to be so amazing.
A lot of preparation went into the presentation we have for you, so you would not be disappointed. That's something I assure you.
People who have been telling us that they are proud of us, they will literally explode with pride because the amount of preparation, efforts, the amount of prayers, sleepless nights, and everything that has gone into today, it's overwhelming, and everybody in the team knows and believes that we've not come this far only to come this far. There's something at the end of the tunnel, there's light at the end of the tunnel, and we are grasping it in our hands and we are not giving it to anybody.
We would want to help KUHIS keep quiet for a little while, even for the rest of this year. And a 2 months gap is not something you should be proud of. You won, we accept it. But we're going to win this one hands down.
And I like the energy already. Adoma, please stand. Well, you're standing at this point because like we did for Kumasi High Senior High School, you're standing because you have to sing for us your school anthem. I know that there's going to be a lot of energy was to sing for us that beautiful anthem. And one of the things I have realized is that almost all the schools have beautiful anthems. And I think that going forward, lead judge, Dr. Peter Arthur, let's look for something to do for the schools that have the finest anthems, because the anthems are lovely. At this point in time, Collins, if you're ready, please assist the students of Our Lady of Grace Senior High School to sing for us their school anthem. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Adoma. You know something? Please put your hands together for your debaters, Safian, Salima, and Agnes Droya Ewenam Abba. There they are. Call it the battle of the ladies and the gents, and you not be wrong. Call it the battle of minds, you not be wrong. Call it the battle or the clash of the titans, and yet again not be wrong. One more time, a round of applause for the debaters who have already taken their seats. This is a finale, the grand final. The contest will be between Kumasi High Senior High School and Our Lady of Grace Senior High School. Ladies and gentlemen, the motion is the rising cost of living cannot be blamed on the government. I'll take it again. The rising cost of living cannot be blamed on the government. Kumasi High School, they are for the motion. Our Lady of Grace, they are against the motion. Mr. Chairperson, can we start the debate? He says, yes, we can. Now, if you're listening to us on radio, if you're watching us on television, Joy Prime, Joy Learning, if you're watching us on Facebook, on Love 99.5 FM, on Joy 99.7 FM, of course, on Hits FM and Joy Prime on Facebook, let's get interactive. Which of the schools do you think is going to be crowned the 2024 champions for the LuvFM President High School Debate? At this point in time, let me go to Kumasi High School and welcome their principal speaker, Esben Aikade Wamako, to set the ball rolling. Please, a round of applause for him.
A very detestable trait about human beings is the fact that we are always too quick to point out all the flaws in others, but slow in recognizing our own. It is so easy for us to blame a leader than to take a look in the mirror and take actions for our own responsibility. The chair and our opponents are a perfect example of this. They have decided to blame the government, to label the government to be a jinx to our rising cost of living. And we, the Emantier, say a huge no to this. The chair, respected judges, meticulous timekeeper, fellow students, colleague debaters, ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon to you all. Representing Kumasi High School, I am Esben Aikade Wemaku, a proud principal speaker, speaking unequivocally in full support of the motion, which I parrot. The rising cost of living cannot be blamed on the government. But the House, before we proceed with our submission, allow me to decipher some technical terms in the motion to the simplest understanding of all and sundry. Beginning with cost of living, according to Cambridge Dictionary, it is defined as the amount of money that people need to spend in order to buy basic goods and services. And 2, government, also from the same source, is defined as a group of people who officially control a country. All in all, the House, the motion simply means that the government cannot be held responsible for the increased amount of money used for basic necessities. The Chair, our first point in full support of this motion is global economic trends is a major factor affecting our increasing cost of living. The Chair, the saying is, no man is an island, and this quote does not just relate to only human beings, but also to the country as well. After all, no nation can survive on their own independently without relying on any form of aid or assistance from another country. That is economic interdependence. So when these nations become economically connected and one faces an economic decline, it will also affect the other depending nation, leading to a rise in the cost of living. I know that not everyone in this auditorium is an economic guru like Mr. Ufakie, so we might be oblivious about the Great Recession. This was a period of a global economic crunch from 2007 to 2009, where even countries with the greatest of economies became economically crippled. The streets were filled with riots, protestants around every corner. People were scared and skeptical of what the future held for them. And we can also talk about global pandemics. Using the most relatable COVID-19, we were all here when the virus struck. According to Statista.com, the GDP growth rate of the nation before coronavirus was 6.5%. But after the pandemic struck, it dropped as low as 0.4%. The House, let's all turn to the screen. You can clearly see the economic decline in the year 2020 as compared to the other years. And this is not due to the government, but the pandemic. And let's not forget about geopolitical tensions, such as the Russia-Ukraine war. The House, let's note that these nations export their naturally endowed resources to other countries, including Ghana. So due to their current warring situation, these imported goods have become scarce, leading to an escalation in their prices, and hence an increase in the cost of living. But the House, did I mention NDC? Or did you hear MPP? Or CPP? No. The government didn't have any hand in any of these events mentioned. So, OLAG, it is now you against our facts. Point 2, panel of judges. Climate remains a major factor affecting our cost of living. The House. The climate has a major influence on many factors in society, including our cost of living. The current agricultural system in the nation is completely rain-fed. That is, it is completely dependent on the weather. But here is the case. The trends in climate conditions are never static. They are always changing every day, every minute, every second, and every hour. Today, it can be sunny. Then the next thing you realize, it's raining. Then the next moment, it's cloudy. And all of this is affecting our agriculture greatly and leading to an increase in the prices of staple foods and vegetables. And the House, we can also talk about energy bills. Let's get interactive. If the nation is to get hotter today, what will happen? People will be forced to turn to their air conditions, leading to an increased demand in these air conditioning companies. Hence, the cost for cooling will also increase, leading to a higher cost of living. So the House, is it fair to blame these occurrences on the government? We can't keep doing this. Piero, Mamalu, I hope you all remember the 1983 famine that occurred in the country. The mass deportation that occurred, Ghana must go. The House, was the government involved in this famine? My opponents, was the government involved in this famine? No. No matter what political leader we have in a nation, and no matter what political party is ruling the nation, they can never change climatic conditions. The president can't summon rain from the sky. No, it is impossible. So why then blame them for these conditions? The Chair, continue with our third point, ladies and gentlemen. The rise in our cost of living should be blamed on private sector pricing. The House, the government does not have a hand in determining the prices of goods and services in the market. So the prices are completely flexible. The House, let's imagine the roasted plantain and groundnut seller at the side of the road who has decided to increase her cost from 2 Ghana cedis to 2 cedi 50 pesos so that she can get more money to pay her children's school fees. Now, the House, is it fair to also blame this on the government? The point I'm trying to make is there is an invisible hand that is pulling the strings when it comes to the prices of goods and services in the market, and it is not the government. And this is why private companies can toy with their prices as much as they want without the government raising a brow. For example, according to Ghana Web, on the 28th of November 2023, a 399 Ghana cedi MTN bundle gave about 214 gigabytes of data. But here is the case today. That same 399 Ghana cedis will give you just 92 gigabytes of data. That is 122 gig. Gone. And the government didn't have a hand in this. The government wasn't involved in all these factors that led to an increase in our cost of living. And this brings me to my fourth point in the House, which is the rise in our cost of living should be blamed on the sheer greed of traders towards maximizing profits. The House, one thing the government can never decide is how we, as citizens, behave towards issues of trade. For a clear argument, let's watch this video.
Mbeto akoko baako nka me to me ensanso ne board me ntuma antoma to baako pe wo ma tumu dodo ni ato 40 Ghana and na ko 60 Ghana 65 70 ada na yesa ni kwan so ma na yesa ka cho me so mo ma ne mlafum yesre wo ma na aban no watete dollars ne so nto.
If you paid attention to the woman, you will notice that she made mention that even though the depreciation of the cedi has gotten better, inflation still stands. This clearly proves that the government is not involved in this. Instead, it is these traders who take advantage of the depreciation of the cedi to increase their prices. And the House, trust me on the fact that for these traders, the sky is their limit. Once the prices go up, it never comes down. And they do this without the influence from any governmental factor. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, the rise in our cost of living should be blamed on imported inflation. Now, the House, permit me to be your economics teacher for today. When we talk about imported inflation, according to Hindu.com, it is simply defined as the rise in the prices of goods and services that is caused by the increase in the price of imports into the country. Now, in the House, let's note that most of the imports that occur in the nation are not even done by the government. No, it is completely private-driven. So when these private companies import goods from an economically unstable country, when these goods come, they come with an inflated price attached to them. For example, Ukraine is a leading producer when it comes to grain, and Russia for natural gas. So if any other nation imports goods from these countries, they are importing inflation the moment Russia and Ukraine face an economic decline. It is simply like contracting a disease from another country, and we can't blame the government for this. The House, ladies and gentlemen, it seems the blame game being done by my opponents is something that circulates throughout the veins of society. In this nation, we have been blaming the government for over 60 years. But look at where we are. Look at where we stand as a nation. The House. This means that we as citizens need to wake up. We need to look at the problems in our nation and find ways to curb and solve these problems and quit pointing fingers. Thank you.
Cometh the hour, cometh the man. Cometh 7th of December 2024. We will go out in our numbers to give power to people to lead us. We give power to people with mountains of honors and accolades. We give them the responsibility to steer our economy. Today, as we stand here, we should know that the government is everything. They implement fiscal and monetary policies. They put in structures in place to steer our economy. Not even a hawker can operate without the influence of the government. The chair, adjudication panel, man of the pendulum, invited dignitaries, esteemed colleague debaters, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the grand finale of the LuvFM HighSchool Debate. I am the principal speaker for Our Lady of Grace Senior High School, a pragmatic citizen here to exercise my civic duty and contribute to national development. The resolution I stand here to oppose this afternoon is, quote and unquote, the rising cost of living cannot be blamed on the government. The Chair, August House, allow me to take responsibility and clarify this motion. Rising, according to vocabulary.com, means moving, going, or growing upwards. Cost of living, according to Investopedia, refers to the monies needed to suffice daily expenses such as healthcare, food, transportation, etc. Cannot, according to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, means unable to do otherwise than what is given. Blame is the past tense of the word blame, which means, according to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, to hold responsible for. And finally, government is the body of people who control the affairs of a country. This motion is trying to tell us that we should be unable to hold the people responsible for our country, accountable for the unprecedented rise in the price of goods and services. The Chair of the House, here are reasons why I believe that everyone should be accountable for their very own actions. To the first point, we can blame the government because it's the government that imposes excessive taxes on goods and services. The Chair, the House, taxes are compulsory payments levied on individuals and corporations by the government. It's mostly done to cover up for fiscal foreshorts in the economy. The Chair, the House, increasing taxes increases cost of production. Increasing cost of production increases inflation, and increasing inflation basically increases your cost of living. The Chair of the House, we sit here with nuisance taxes looming over us. We sit here with COVID levy after 5 years. We sit here with e-levy. We sit here with betting taxes looming over us. Yet one is holding us as a chokehold. We want to blame the weather. We want to blame the dying people in Ukraine. We want to blame the opposition. We want to blame everybody but the orchestrators of that tax. No one sitting in this auditorium today has the fiscal authority or the taxing right to place any tax, to hold on to a tax which was made for a pandemic after 5 years. No one in this auditorium has the power to do that. Those who do, take it from the executive to the legislature to the judiciary, and those are the arms of government. They are the ones responsible. To my second point, the Chair in the House, the government's decision to engage in the financial sector cleanup is a reason for our chokehold today. The Chair in the House, from 2017 to 2019, the government of Ghana decided to do a financial sector cleanup in order to restore confidence and stability. This led to the close down of 9 banks and 347 microfinance companies. The Chair in the House, the government could have used a lesser amount of money to support these institutions to stand on their feet, but no. They would rather use 21 billion Ghana cedis of your money, 21 billion Ghana cedis of we the taxpayers' money, to throw away at people who didn't even want their banks to be closed. The Chair, the House, closing of these banks impacted households. People could not access their savings. And because of the financial insecurity this caused, no investment company would want to put their money in a place that may be closed down because the government decided. So investments were taken away from the country. Less investment, less economic growth, high cost of living on the people. And I want to say that a whole lot of people died because these banks were closed. People couldn't pay fees of their children because these banks were closed. Did I close the bank? Did you close the bank? Those responsible should be held responsible because nobody sitting in this auditorium even whispered about it. These people sat on tables and decided to destroy people's lives, and you want me to blame the clouds? The Chair in the House, to my third point, the government's decision to engage in excessive, irresponsible borrowing is the reason we are in this ditch today. The Chair of the House, no one in this auditorium once again holds the government's hand to IMF or to World Bank or to the Central Bank or to buy Euro bonds. They go there in order to cover their fiscal deficit. In 2022, we could not cover our debt obligation. So what did we do? We decided to engage in a debt exchange program, saying that, I'm sorry, I owe you, and I would like an extended period of time to pay you, and not exactly what I have to pay you. pensioners cried. People who sacrificed 3 decades of their lives died. Why? Because the government decided that your money we took to invest, we can't get it back. So you have to wait for us to get that money back. What does this mean for ordinary Ghanaians? This means that even if the more money that was 20 pesos is still 20 pesos, standing here, I don't have that 20 pesos. So my cost of living has increased significantly. What did this mean? This means that the cedi depreciated over 50% from September 2022 to April 2023. And we've all heard of the phrase, when the fundamentals are weak, the exchange rate will expose you. Who sets the fundamentals? It is not you, it is not I. The people in charge set those fundamentals to put this country on a firm ground. And that moves me to my fourth point, the chair in the House. The government can't be blamed for the increase in cost of living because the Constitution mandates them to direct this economy. The law of Ghana did not put the management of the economy and the determination of the prices of items into the hands of individuals. No, it put it into a well-orchestrated body with various arms and sections, that is the government. Article 36 of the 1991 Constitution states, and I quote, "The state shall take all necessary action to ensure the national economy is managed in such a manner to maximize the rates of economic development and secure the maximum welfare, freedom, and happiness of every person in Ghana, and to provide accurate means of livelihood and suitable employment and public assistance to the needy." The chair in the House. We can blame the government because they did not adhere to a constitutional mandate. We can blame the government because they disrespected the Constitution. We can blame the government because they didn't fulfill the law. You and I are not responsible for their failure. To my fifth and final point, we can blame the government for the rise in cost of living because they have breached a social contract they have with citizens. No person in power, in major power, came there just by luck. They weren't born into the position. They told people they wanted the position. They convinced people they wanted the position. They made promises to people they wanted the position. They promised to reduce inflation to single numbers. They promised to create jobs. They promised to increase our standard of living. They told us their promises are sacred.
New Patriotic Party programs are ye diegu hono ebedu baby no ye be crank of fiamano no mo be yeduma Ghana.
They promised us employment. And I would like to state that this is not a political gimmick. This is not any propaganda. I'm just saying the people in there now are supposed to be accountable for what is going on in there now. The chair, the House, they called the previous people incompetent. They told us to choose them so that we could be better. If they were able to call them incompetent then, why can't I blame them for my high cost of living now? After all, we made a contract. Give me what I want and I will put you into power. So if you can't give me what I want after I have put you into power, I am not to blame. Ukraine is not to blame. The chair of the House, to some assertions my opponents made. One, they stated that global economic trends affect the economy. They also stated things like global pandemic. I'd really like to stress on this. Let's look at the story of Joseph in the Bible. It tells us what true leadership is. It tells us what productiveness is supposed to be. Let's assume the dream didn't go to Pharaoh, who at that time was the government, but went to every single person in that land. Could they have stored food for the next 7 years? Could they have put in measures in place for the next 7 years? It was the government. It was the people with foresight. It was the proactive people who were in charge that could take steps in order not to let that famine affect them. Also, with the Russia and Ukraine war, I wonder how something happening miles away could affect you, but I understand the world is a global village. So explain why, even in the midst of war that started in 2014 upon provocation and continued in 2022, has the countries, thank you.
Of the people, by the people, and for the people. This proves that we are in a democratic world where everyone has been given the opportunity to make their own decisions. But when there is a problem in the country, we try to push over everything to the government. The House, let's note that the productivity of our country depends on the productivity of we, the citizens. And the strength of our country is also derived from the strength of we, the citizens. Now to the ever-wise chair, both the impartial panel of judges, our great timekeeper, fellow students, colleague debaters, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Representing the land of gentility, Kumasi High School, I am Joshua Kwabna Ephraim, the supporting speaker, speaking in full affirmation of the motion about which I quote, the rising cost of living cannot be blamed on the government, unquote. The chair will continue to speak in favor of the motion with point 6. The high cost of living cannot be blamed on the government because of the inobservant desire of the youth for white-collar jobs instead of venturing into agriculture. Ladies and gentlemen, agriculture-related jobs are one of the most essential yet underrated jobs in our society. Now the House, let's get interactive. How many of us would like to be farmers in future? 1, 2, 3. All right. Now the House, how many of us would like to be doctors, engineers, and others? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a lot. The chair, the House. It's all said and done. A report by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, captioned Economy, states that Ghana is endowed with natural resources and agriculture accounts for averagely 1/4 of our GDP. Yet, the youth in our country are refusing to be employed in our agricultural fields. Ladies and gentlemen, the rural-urban migration of our country is increasing each day, all in the name of I am going to seek for a better job in the city. Meanwhile, there is a better job in our rural areas, which is agriculture. People have forgotten about the number of products they can produce to help the country, and not the country alone, but the world at large. The House, when this problem increases, productivity in our country is going to decrease. And when there is a decrease in productivity with proportional increase in demand, it is going to lead to the increase in pricing of these items, which indirectly affects the cost of living of our country. So my opponents, please rethink of your stance. Moving to our 7th point, the chair. The high cost of living cannot be blamed on the government because of the citizens' high taste for foreign goods. Shoes, belts, textiles, and many other things are produced locally in our country. But the question is, are we patronizing them? A report by Statista.com states that the total import of Ghana as of 2021 amount to $13.6 billion US. Now the House, $1 in our country currently is 14 cedis 58 pesos. Ghana 14 cedis 58 pesos. Yes, this is as a result of more foreign currencies needed in our country to import foreign goods. Ladies and gentlemen, an item sold at $5 in the United States of America, when imported into our country, will be sold at averagely 78 Ghana cedis. Meanwhile, there are people in our country producing these same items at cheaper price, yet we won't buy them. Why? Because they were produced in Ghana. Such a pity. My opponent, until the day you and I will have a change in mind to patronize our locally produced goods, the cost of living of our country will continue to go higher and higher and higher. Moving to our 8th and last point, the chair. The high cost of living cannot be blamed on the government because of the unbridled expectation of price increase in future. Ladies and gentlemen, as people anticipate for an increase in prices in the future, it causes them to patronize more items in the present times, leading to scarcity of these items in future. Ladies and gentlemen, a practical example can be seen in the just ended Eid celebration of the Muslims, where most of these people patronize their items before time. And when it got to the period of celebration, the items of these products were scarce in our country, leading to the increments of the prices. The House, a report by Daily Star on 15 June 2024, captioned, "Commodities in our country, price goes up ahead of Eid. Best explain this." The House, as a result of this problem, scarcity and increase in prices of these items increased. Ladies and gentlemen, before I end, the points raised by my principal speaker and I all sum to one thing, which is the behavior of we the citizens. So before I resume my seat, I want to entreat everyone here to have a change in mind and also discipline ourselves with respect to attitude towards development of our country. Now the chair, the House. Before I move to my opponents, exposure number 1.
to affect you. Before US's economy comes to affect you. When Russia and Ukraine were having war, it didn't mean we were having the war. Yes, it's affected us to some extent, but
from Salimet's old math, she said that external factors such as Russia-Ukraine war affect our economy. Ladies and gentlemen, the House, back to my opponent. My opponent, you contended that government is responsible for fiscal policies, yes, and taxation. My opponent, this is a red herring fallacy. Taxes are paid to foster developmental projects in our country. Taxation on goods allows everyone to be taxed, not only government workers. The government does not increase taxes in its own way, no. The COVID-19 tax, for instance, which is 1%, has remained unchanged. If the government does not raise the tax rate, then we cannot blame the government. Then my opponent also contended that excessive, irrespective borrowing. My opponent, thank you for making our work very easy. Ghana's recent visit to the IMF was as a result of the worldwide COVID-19 pandemic, which affected our economy drastically. So if the assistance derived from the foreign aid really adds to the cost of living, then we can say that COVID-19 leads to the IMF. For that, we must blame COVID-19, not the government. The House, my opponent during her submission said increasing taxes causes production, increasing production increases cost of living, and increasing cost of living increases inflation. By my opponent, allow me to school you. Increasing taxes increases production rather decrease cost of living, because when there is much productivity in our country, prices of items are going to decrease. So take note. And you also said that the promises of the government to increase jobs. Ladies and gentlemen, you all saw the number of people that raised their hands when I asked of the people that wants to pursue farming. The House, the chair, the House, thank you.
I look at the economic management.
It's a red herring fallacy you claim. It is not. Allow me to make my claims why. According to the 1992 Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, Chapter 6, which talks about the directories in relation to state policies, Article 36, Clause 2 states, and I quote, "The state shall in particular put up all necessary establishments and steps to establish a sound and healthy economy," unquote. Meaning the government is mother of all economic affairs in the state. When we hear of good standards of living, when the prices of commodities are low, we praise the government. Hence, when the prices of commodities are high and our standards of living is low, why shouldn't we blame the government? The chair and the House. The government is in control of everything that goes on in our economy. The chair, panel of judges, man of the pendulum, distinguished guests, esteemed co-debaters, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I am Agnes Joya Ewenam Abba, a student of Our Lady of Grace Senior High School, and the supporting speaker vehemently opposing the motion that, quote and unquote, the rising cost of living cannot be blamed on the government. Everything under our economy, from the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Works and Housing to the Ministry of National Security, is all controlled by the government. Meaning the government has the economic tools to develop our economy. The chair and the House, the government is aware of each and every economic activity that goes on in relation to our daily lives. This brings me to my first point, the rising cost of living in our countries as a result of the monetary policy missteps by the government. The monetary policy is a tool used to smooth inflation in relation to our business sectors. The chair and the House, the Bank of Ghana, in trying to control inflation in the country, increased our monetary policy rate to 29%. In effect, it affected our interest rates, making it 28.3% as of 4th July, just yesterday.
The chair in the house, let us be honest with ourselves. If you were a business owner with such a high rate, you will be discouraged for going for loans from the bank to expand your business, and you will rather invest it into governmental treasury bills. And when this happens, it demands overseas supply. And when that happens, it's all due to decrease in productivity. And as a result, increase in prices on the market. The chair and the house, when there's increases in prices on the market, automatically our cost of living rises. So who should we blame this on? Is it not the government? The chair and the house, to my second point, the rising cost of living is as a result of the government's inability to ensure stable power supply. The government is in charge of the energy sector in our country. So when there are any problems in relation to power supply in the country, we should blame the government. The chair and the house, a news article published by Morning Ghana on the 28th of March 2024, titled "The Dire Concerns in Relation to Doomsor on the Country's Economy," talks about the fact that industries turn to other sources of power, such as plants and solar panels, and these are more expensive. So in return, the prices of goods they are producing will be more expensive. And let's be honest, as a rational producer of goods, if you are producing your goods and there is extra cost, won't you push it onto your consumer? That is what these producers are doing, and it's known as cost-push inflation. The chair and the house, this doomsday I'm also talking of, that the government is supposed to see to, it's not solved though. So this increase in production, of course, is still going on. The chair and the house, to my third and final point. The bad governance practices performed by the government is a factor to blame for the rising cost of living. When we talk about corruption, when we talk about conflict of interest, the chair and the house, it goes negatively a long way to impacting our cost of living. By an article reported by City Newsroom on July 31st, 2023, the Auditor General uncovers 15.1 billion Ghana cedis lost to corruption. By another report done by Graphic Online on April 16, 2024, Sedinam Tamaklo Atinu, the former CEO of Maslok, whose responsibility was to provide essential loans to small-scale businesses to help them boost their businesses, stole 90 million Ghana cedis from the country. The chair and the house, all these monies, when put into the productive points of our economy, could boost our revenue and enhance on our cost of living. The government needs to step up their game, the chair and the house, and they will take all the blames in relation to the rising cost of living until they do so. The chair and the house, it's not gods who are ruling the economies or steering the economies of those who are doing well. It is the government. Hence, if we are not doing well, we should also blame the government. The same way we are thanking Paul Kagame's government for the good work being done in Rwanda, we have to point fingers at our government, blame them, and let them know of the bad work they are doing now. Let us be for real, commending those who need to be praised and blaming those who need to be blamed. The chair and the house, some claims were made by my esteemed opponent here. Climatic conditions you spoke of, that they could be an external factor to affect our economy. Bolivia, as a little to no income country, went a long way in improving their sector, especially in the agricultural sector. Climate was so bad there. So what did they do? They started planting crops which were good for their country. And this was all an initiative by the government. Everything boils down to the government, the chair and the house. Another assertion was made about private sector pricing. A private sector driven by profit motives sets high prices. For example, a monopolistic firm can set a high price because there is no competitive firm. The government can support a rival firm through the granting of subsidies to create competition for this monopolistic firm. The chair and the house, unfortunately and fortunately, for the last time in this debate, I rest my case.
Ladies and gentlemen, expose number 2. Let's watch this video.
Solve our problems, tailored just for us, because it's for us, because of us, and by us. Together, we are stronger to solve our own problems.
From the horse's own mouth, our problems are by us, because of us, and for us. And you are here contradicting yourself by blaming the government. Well, the chair, our guest house, as I make my last stand today to nullify the submissions made by the opposition, permit me to summarize the cogent points we raised in favor of the motion. 1. Global economic trends lead to an increased cost of living. 2. Climate change remains a major factor affecting our cost of living. 3. Our increased cost of living should be blamed on private sector pricing. 4. Our rising cost of living is caused by the sheer greed of traders towards maximizing profits. 5. Our high cost of living is due to imported inflation. 6. Ghanaians' high taste for foreign goods is the cause for our rising cost of living. 7. There is unbridled expectations of price in the future on the part of citizens. And 8. The youth have inordinate desire for white-collar jobs instead of venturing into agriculture. Now, the chair, permit me to counter-argue the points raised by the opposition. They contended that the taxes imposed by the government lead to a rising cost of living. The House, the perception that taxes are a nuisance in society is something that needs to be relegated to the background. Let's take a country like UK, for example. They pay way more taxes, but their cost of living is very low. Why? Because the taxes that you pay, the government rather use them for policies to rather help to reduce cost of living. So what you are saying there, you also came to say that today, you came to say that the debt piled by the government contributes to our cost of living. By the House, yet again, the reason the government relies on financial aid from third parties, such as the IMF, is due to external factors. For example, Ghana is currently at the IMF today for a $3 billion program because of external factors such as COVID-19 and the Russian-Ukraine war. So the government is even aiding us to recover from these external shocks, and you have the guts to still blame the government. They also came to say that they mentioned that the government is everything in your submission. The principal speaker mentioned that the government is everything. Are you trying to tell me that without the government, we won't be able to do anything? No. If you can prove that if the government is to leave us today, everyone will die, then we accept your assertion. But that is not true. And in your second point, you also talked about the government leading to closing of banks, which caused people to die. And it's like this resonated throughout your whole script. You were talking about death, and death. I don't know how conversant you are with the motion, but please, death does not lead to an increased cost of living. They also came to say that they played a video showing government making numerous promises. But how do the untrue words of a politician or someone in power affect the price of tomato in the market? No, it is not related. And you also cited an example using Joshua in the Bible during a famine in Egypt. But are you trying to tell me that there are not numerous nations in the country with good storage facilities and governance and policies such as UK and the rest? There obviously are, but they are still affected by external factors such as COVID-19 and geopolitical tensions. So your point holds no water. And the supporting speaker also came to make an assertion that the government is in control of everything that happens in our economy. Okay, collapse private companies such as MTN, Unilever, and Nestle, and see what will happen to our economy. And you will see whether we actually need the government for our economy. The chair of the House, I bow.
The Chair, all protocols duly observed. A summary of the points made by my supporting speaker and I against the resolution, quote and unquote, the rising cost of living cannot be blamed on the government are the following. 1. The government's imposition of excessive taxes on goods and services is to blame for the rising cost of living. 2. The government's decision to carry out financial cleanup exercise is to blame for the cost of living. 3. The government engaging in excessive and irresponsible borrowing is to blame for the rising cost of living. 4. The Constitution delegates responsibility to the government, hence they are to blame for mishaps. 5, they have breached a social contract through their manifestos and campaigns they had with citizens, hence they are to blame. 6, the monetary policy missteps by the government are to blame for the rising cost of living. 7, the government's inability to provide stable electricity has affected the cost of living. And 8, bad governance practices performed by the government are to blame for the cost of living. The Chair and the House. My opponents mentioned that youth would rather prefer white-collar jobs rather than investing in agriculture. The government of Ghana, as one of its campaign promises, told us about the planting for food and jobs. It is here in my opponent's evidence that Ghana is endowed with natural resources in agriculture that accounts for roughly 1/4 of the GDP. The Chair of the House, a country endowed with agriculture, a government that has put in place a strategy called Planting for Food and Jobs, which has used 2.6 billion Ghana cedis. Yet, 2 fingers of plantain go for 5 cedis. Yet, more money that started at 20 pesos is now 2 cedis. Governments did put measures in place. If those measures are not going well, we should blame the checks and balances they did not put in place to ensure sustainability of these programs they put in place. My opponents also mentioned behavior of citizens. I put it to all of us that we are not all hands on deck when it comes to our economy. They mentioned democracy, which is for the people, by the people. It means we select people to represent us. We select people to rule things on our behalf. That's why we select MPs. That's why ministers are selected, because they are supposed to do the job of the citizens for the citizens. So if those people are not doing it well, I am not to blame because you convinced me to vote for you. Was it wrong to listen to you? Was it wrong to believe you? Was it wrong to think you were a responsible, accountable human being who could live up to your words? Is that the wrong of the citizens of Ghana? The Chair, the House. My opponents mentioned the Russia-Ukraine war. And I'd like to say that Ukraine's economy, even in a war, is growing. What is Ghana's excuse? The only cushion between a war outside and the citizens in this country is the government. Before anything comes down, it passes through the government. Ukraine, as it stands now, is still exporting to 30 out of 54 countries in Africa, and you want to blame them for your rising cost of living when your government is what is implementing abhorrent import duties. When things come to the ports from outside countries, they pass through the ports, don't they? These port duties are implemented by who? It is not me, the Chair in the House. It is the government that determines the prices of things that will come here directly or indirectly. The Chair, the House. They played my video of me saying, because of us and by us. I said on this stage, quote and unquote, together we are stronger to solve our own solutions, because the solutions are by us, because of us and for us. So don't you dare come and stand on this stage and play half of a video I said and try to turn that around against me. The Chair and the House. Moving on to my other rebuttal. The government does not always go to the IMF because of external factors. That is a plain fallacy. Almost every interchange in the government in Ghana today is sponsored by a loan. Almost every big project the government does is sponsored by a loan. Ghana literally cannot breathe without loans. And then the whole heaviness of the loans is falling on the citizens through taxes. Who goes for the loans? It is the government. Revenue generation is something that is difficult, yes. Yet we always choose the easy way out by going to stretch our arms overseas to beg for money. The Chair of the House, what does Ghana lack? Can someone tell me, is it gold we lack? Is it human resources we lack? It's the fact that we do not look within. It's the fact that we are always trying to go outside to look for help. The Chair of the House, together we can, and I say it once again, the Chair of the House, they said, if I'm able to prove that without the government, everybody will die. Without the government, there will be no education. Without the government, there will be no hospitals. Without the government, there will be no infrastructure. There will be no roads. There will be no transportation. Without the government, there will be nothing, because they represent you and I. So together, oh God, thank you.
At this point in time, all right, so settle down for me. At this point in time, I will say, ceasefire. They are supposed to cease fire. Esben, Aikade, Wemako, join me here. Joshua, Ephraim, join me here. And Safian, Salima, and Agnes, join me here to my left as well. Quickly. Listen, please put your hands together for these amazing, brilliant, intelligent debaters. Yeah. You know what they've been able to do? They have succeeded in creating confusion even between the adults. Where I'm seated and I keep moving about, the adults are, arguing amongst themselves and debating among themselves. Gentlemen and ladies, shake hands. You are not enemies, shake hands. Because at one point in time, you saw the emotions coming out of their debate. Shake hands. You are not enemies. Please take your seats. One more time, a round of applause for them. Wow.